situation. They speculate about Daryl's involvement with the attempt on Art's life. When Catherine admits she's there to decide whether Wynn should kill Boyd or not, he takes out a cigarette, makes a big show of it, of his abiding shame and all that stuff. And then right as he's about to, light a cigarette and have his little speech about the reasons why Wynn shouldn't kill him, the marshals bust in and take everybody into custody. and Boyd does have a little moment there where he has a really good line. I feel like they had the line and worked backwards from the line. They're like, what would be really funny here is if the marshals bust in and Boyd says, man, they must take that no smoking policy really seriously. Yeah. Okay, how do we get to that point? Let's work backwards.
I think the other part about this scene, which is actually I like, is the way that they slowly reveal who Catherine Hale is.
Yes.
So because she does come across, she's a very attractive female, older female who's seen some stuff. And so the way that they introduce her and you learn more and more about her as the episode goes on, I think that's probably one of the best things about this episode.
Oh, I think so too. I think it's masterful the way they sort of parcel out information about her character while not leaving us in mystery, right? We're not left wondering, what's the full story on this Catherine Hale, because she hasn't been that involved in the story so far.
Yes.
So it doesn't feel that it's not sort of high stakes for the viewer to know who she is at this point in the story. And so they dole it out. They dole out the information in little bits. We find out that, she's the wife of Big Country Grady Hale and Boyd knows who she is. And he saw her in the paper, but she changed her hair. So he didn't recognize her.
Yeah.
And then from there we get Vasquez with her and we find out that, well, maybe she's got more involvement in this than we think she did, right? He was Big Country Grady Hale, but she was apparently heavily involved in his criminal enterprise. Vasquez tried to wrap her up in it, and she got away with it, or at least
beat the rap
somewhat. Somewhat got away with it. We don't know if she beat the rap entirely, but the jury didn't buy all of the mean things that Vasquez was saying about her. Yeah, she at one point she says, "I'm just a grandma now," and he says, "You're not like anybody's grandma I've ever seen." And he is not wrong about that. And then also goes on to say that both of his grandmas look like Edward James Olmos,
which is pretty funny.
Is hilarious and probably accurate.
or Danny Trejo.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Every uncle looks like Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
That's funny. So we find out that Vasquez kind of sees Catherine Hale as his white whale. Almost, it's almost Raylan Givens is to Boyd Crowder as David Vasquez is to Catherine Hale. I feel like, and so. This is an indicator for those of you who haven't already watched. This is an indicator about where we might be going with season 6 here. So, while all that's going on, Raylan is taking advantage of the fact that nobody else is paying attention. Actually, before I get to that, let me get to this because
you use your tongue
Indeed
prettier than a $20 whore.
Yeah, and I want to get to something that that Jimmy said in the clip with Jimmy and Carl. He said, "We'll stack them like cord wood." And you've probably heard that expression before, but maybe never given much thought to what it means. Cord wood, CORD, WOOD, not CORED, like it was like cord, like taking the core out of something, but just cord. It's a noun, and it describes wood that has been cut into uniform lengths and used particularly for firewood. So when you've seen like big stacks of wood at the Home Depot or the grocery store, or, at like behind somebody's shed or whatever, that's what they're talking about, cord wood. So it's stacked, kind of, geometrically patterned so that it can be stacked on top of each other, and it fits nicely together and stacks very nicely, and you can stack it very high. to functionally store a lot of firewood. So what Jimmy is suggesting, of course, is that we can stack bodies quite high as well. And I think it's admirable that he thinks with the three of them, they can make any dent on anything.
Yeah. They're not John Wicks.
Yeah, they are definitely not John Wicks. Even though Jimmy, I think, is pretty handy with that rifle. He's not John Wick.
Yeah.
So anyway, while Vasquez is having the conversation with Catherine Hale, Raylan is busy speaking with one Mr. Picker. And we have a clip of that.
Finally, someone I can reason with.
I want a name.
Me too. The scrawny guy, who is he?
I want a name.
I want an apology. That rat-faced little prick tweaked my back when I was getting in the car. It's like he doesn't understand the special relationship I have with you guys.
That relationship, that's over.
Really?
Today we got a different set of problems.
Yeah. I heard. My condolences. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know how I fit in.
Well, Theo put you as a shooter.
Oh, beautiful.
He says you were acting on his orders.
Really? Well, the last time you dragged me in here, you thought he was trying to kill me. Now you believe I'm taking his orders?
More than believe. Got the proof. Got all we need, matter of fact. Congratulations. You're the prime suspect.
Show me what the hell you got.
You'll hear it in court.
This again? The land of complete bullshit? You guys really should learn a new tune, you know that?
Looking at 40 years to life, my buddy. Yeah. More if Art dies. In that case, you're going to regret you left Michigan, as Kentucky does still favor the death penalty.
I played ball.
Yes, you did.
I played ball, Marshal. Mm-hmm. And now you're going to hang this job on me?
Very simple.
Come on.
Goes away, you give me a name.
I'm not a snitch.
I got an affidavit says you are.
Why should I help you?
Again? Believe I made that more than clear.
No, I mean, why would I help you besides the fact that you're an asshole?
There is no other reason.
Daryl Crow is what I heard.
Say, boy, you come, I say,
So that's our
Kentucky
Kentucky Fried Wisdom moment of the week also.
Look at me when I'm talking to you, son. Look, sister, is any of this filtering through that little blue bonnet of yours? Pay attention, son. Look at me when I'm talking to you.
That's the conversation. Why would I help you besides the fact that you're an asshole? There is no other reason. That's our Kentucky Fried Wisdom moment. And so Picker immediately understands that he doesn't have any options here. And he needs to give up Daryl Crow. And so he does. And then they have a conversation with Ed about where Daryl Crow could possibly be found and when. And conveniently, they get interrupted because Wendy Crow is on the phone with Daryl, arranging to turn himself in. So they arrange for Raylan. He will only turn himself into Raylan. Also, is the contingency there. So they work it out so that Raylan is going to go to this hotel or this motel room and meet with and take Daryl into custody. And when he gets there, he finds Wendy's there with her face that's been beaten to hell and back by Daryl. And she says, "Hey, sorry, I didn't have a choice. He had Kendall. He made me do this. He's not coming here." And Daryl Crow is turning himself in at the marshal's office while Raylan is at the hotel looking to apprehend him, because according to him, he thinks that Raylan's just going to shoot him if he sees him, so he's afraid to turn himself in to Raylan. Obviously, all bullshit, of course, because it's Daryl Crow Jr. We know it's bullshit, but it appears compelling to a neutral observer at the very least.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, everything that Daryl Crow is doing here makes him appear to be the reasonable person in the room, and it looks like Raylan's got something out for him and his family. Whether the marshals believe that or not, I don't think, obviously, because they have an agenda, because they've got their chief in intensive care. But people looking in, neutral observers looking in from the outside would kind of see it as such, I think. So I think Raylan is actually, I think it's a good time to bring this up. So we've got this situation where Daryl won't turn himself into Raylan because he's afraid Raylan's going to shoot him, or he says that's why he won't turn himself into Raylan. We hear Tim in the earlier clip talking about how, Marshall kills his brother. He's going to come looking for revenge. Of course, we're going to immediately think it's him who shot Art. I think Raylan's being unfairly maligned here. He didn't kill Danny Crow. He didn't even put Danny Crow in a position where he had no choice. He didn't even put him in a Delano sort of first episode position with Danny Crow. Danny Crow ran at him with a knife and fell in a hole and stabbed himself in the face.
Yeah. I mean, but of course it's his fault though, because he has it out for the Crows. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess that if that's the narrative, I suppose that's the way you kind of do that. But even for Tim to say that, like to say U.S. Marshal kills your brother, he didn't kill him. He died. That's true.
I mean, yeah, it's look, ACAB, okay, but he didn't kill him. It's like he didn't do it. So it feels like he's being unfairly maligned. But anyway, so they Kendall is with Daryl when he turns himself in at the marshal's office. They take them into separate rooms. They start interrogating them. Raylan arrives at the office to find out that Daryl has told Vasquez that Kendall is in fact the one who shot Art, and that he brought him here to turn him in and admit it. And so then Ed and Vasquez go in and confront Kendall with Wendy present, with an attorney present, with Raylan present. They have a long conversation about it. Kendall admits that he shot Art. He claims that he doesn't remember what order the shooting happened in. Yeah, he doesn't know if Art shot first or he shot first. He says he didn't go there with the intent of killing anyone, but that he was afraid of Raylan because Raylan has been harassing his family. And so the narrative continues to be reinforced here. And so they take Kendall into custody and charge him with the attempted murder of a U.S. Marshal. And Daryl gets released, wildly enough. And so, and Picker also gets released because, now he's no longer their prime suspect because we have somebody, admitting to have done it.
Yeah. But can we back up here? So Theo Tonin confessed that he gave the green light to Picker,
correct? Right?
And then Picker outsourced that to the Crows.
I mean, I guess if you're Vasquez, you look at that and you try and make that connection. You go, wait a minute. You subcontracted this to a 14-year-old boy? That doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think what Vasquez is thinking, and we see it pretty early on in this episode when he comes back and says, hey, Theo gave him up. Theo admitted it and gave up the shooter. We get the feeling that maybe Vasquez feels like that came a little too easy, that maybe it's not entirely credible, but it's the only lead they had to go on, so they were investigating it. That's what I think is going on there. And then so when you have somebody come in and somebody who is a legitimate suspect who you think actually did it, because again, remember, Picker has an alibi and they verified him on camera. Tim comes and gets Ed and Raylan out of the interrogation room and says, hey, we've got him on camera 2 minutes after the shooting. And how did he say it? Mario Andretti couldn't get there in 10, something like that. So,
yeah, something like that.
So they basically, they alibi out, they vindicate, Picker. So at that point, the information from Theo becomes essentially useless. It's not credible information anymore. And now you have somebody who is admitting to doing it in the office. So yeah, you got to let Picker go. So they do let Picker go. Yep. And they're back in Wynn's suite. And Boyd picks up right where he leaves off, which is the most incredible portion of the whole thing to me, that they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Sure. Go ahead and have your cigarette while we're sitting here waiting